Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Welcome to Dig on America, where we speak truth to power. Every week, we give you the dig on how American history, policies, and media created the social and political issues we face today. DOA is independent media supported by listeners, but they'll tell you we're just fake news, deep state propaganda, funded by George Soros, the Clinton Foundation, BLM Marxists, and
Montana Burns.
Eddie Van Halen.
That's
Obviously.
good.
Obviously.
It's always Eddie Van Halen. So welcome everybody to Dig on America. This is Jason Dutch. I am here with Mikey Feminier and my 5-year-old son, who is this close to me right now because mom's in a work meeting. Oh, you can't see. There he is. He's right there because mom's in a work meeting. So he might decide to join the show because he could give a rat's rear end that I'm podcasting right now. But I have to be a dad and I have to do this show because you demand it. Mikey, how you doing today, brother?
I did a lot of nothing today and it felt great. I haven't done nothing in a long time, but it was nice to just vacuum the living room. I have hardwood floors, so it was one mat, and smoke weed all day. It was amazing. I highly recommend it. If weed is legal in your state, just spend one day a year doing one thing only. It's nice.
I didn't know you smoked it. I thought you just ate the edibles.
Well, I've transitioned because the edibles are really fucking strong.
You're on the pathway to cocaine.
Yeah, I'm already talking to a couple of meth dealers. I'm trying to figure out who's lowballing me.
You gonna get your Biden crack pipe? Are you gonna get your Biden crack pipe?
Hell yeah! No, but it's funny because like I work a stressful job in a stressful industry in a stressful town during stressful times, and I quit smoking cigarettes, so I was just staying stressed. You know, having an edible was really fun until I felt like my chest was caving in. So a couple of hits and I can fucking just relax for an hour and be perfectly fine. So it's not evil, guys. It helps with anxiety and stress. So I'm a lot calmer than I normally am.
A lot calmer. Sure you are. You're as angry as ever.
Angry black man.
So as you heard, we have some guests on the show with us today. Big Hoss will join us at some point. Your guess is as good as mine.
It's a surprise.
But with us today, to my, let's see here, this way, we have the amazing podcaster and YouTuber. Actually, no, this guy's not amazing. He's just a podcaster and YouTuber. No, a friend of ours from Twitter, Tony Michaels.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for
having me. Tony Michaels Show. And you call your Twitter show something?
No.
I can't remember what it is.
We do 2 hours a day every single weekday, and we do that. It used to be we did a Twitch stream, the Shit List Roundup.
The Shit List. I was thinking it was Shut the Fuck Up with Tony Michaels.
No, well, it's fuck them, and that's my my phrase, I guess. It wasn't intentional to capture that trademark, I guess, but I just say fuck them all the time, so kind of stuck, I think, with the audience. But no, we do the Shit List Roundup. We go through the tweety tweets and the trendy trends every single day. I used to do it just as a live stream, and then it became part of the podcast. So people like to. I got the idea from my son. He watches video games on YouTube while he's playing video games.
Oh my God, that is
and
so
I
irritating.
thought, oh fuck! I thought maybe people will watch me surf Twitter while they're surfing Twitter. I didn't think it was possible, but they do it.
It always irritates me when I'm like, here we are. You probably like the same thing. We're trying to do some social change, get a few hundred watches. Some jackass plays Among Us and gets 16 million views. Some girl licks an ear-shaped microphone and gets 45 trillion hits.
I do not fucking understand it. How is that profitable?
Well,
how is that profitable?
Humans are garbage, for generally speaking.
I have
so
here
it's hard to
an ear-shaped microphone, everyone.
No, don't you fucking do it. Don't you fucking.
so I'll
technical difficulties, guys. We just lost the Dutch. Hopefully.
There he is. He's back.
The show's over. I just
Soros seen you licking the microphone.
Nope. Can't
Nope. Can't do that.
I will let Mikey introduce his St. Louis alum.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ray Reid. So, Ray, tell us about you.
Hey guys, so I'm Reid. I am running for Congress in Missouri's 2nd Congressional District. It's the suburbs of St. Louis, Missouri, right next to Congressman Corey Bush.
Yeah. And you said you're out of Brentwood?
I am born and raised in Brentwood. I'm the candidate in this race who's actually from St. Louis. Grew up here, went to college at the University of Central Missouri in Warrensburg, worked for our last Democratic.
The mules.
Oh yeah.
I'm outnumbered here 3-1 by Missourians.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion on Kirkwood and why it's better than Brentwood?
So you're wrong.
That is such a deep cut. No one will understand the Brentwood-Kirkwood rivalry unless you've been there.
Yeah. It's only second to the Webster-Kirkwood rivalry.
St. Louis humor. It's only funny for like 18 people.
Only
because
funny
all
for
of us,
8. I was going to say.
Yeah, because we all just get either stuck there or all we do is leave and talk about there.
Every listener to the show is like, huh? Okay, but let's get to our. So we play a game. We'll play. I'll tell you what we'll do if it's all right with Mikey. We'll play the game because this is Ray's episode. The first hour of the show, we're going to talk about Ray's candidacy. So we'll start with playing the game with him, and then the second hour maybe we'll play it. We'll play it with the game with Tony.
All right,
So we start out the show with a game called 4 Down Territory. We will ask you 4 questions. You will give us 4 answers. These are non-political. 30-second answer is perfectly fine. So let me call the audible. 18, 19, 27, Missouri, hut.
Oh man, I knew he's gonna be like Mississippi River.
Mason-Dixon line, hut. All right.
There it is. It happened. We were all here when it happened.
You were all here when it happened. So Ray, I will ask you, if you don't mind, the first question. When you were a kid, what was your favorite Saturday activity?
Oof. It's basketball. When I was a kid, my same group of friends that I had in middle school carried on through high school and college. We all played basketball. We snuck in the countless rec centers around the district. Eventually they just gave us passes, but it's
like
basketball.
In grown-ups where you're going in through the exit.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, so basketball. Mikey, your turn, sir.
Favorite 80s movie? You only get one.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Good answer.
That's a solid. That's a solid answer. All right, Tony, screw you. All right, Tony, you gets to ask you a question now. Tony, ask him any question you want.
I get to ask him a question?
You absolutely do. But just remember, he'll return the favor. So
well, good. Let's see. I wasn't prepared for this, but
exactly.
That's the point.
Okay. All right. Well, Ray, what's your favorite 70s rock band? I mean, we'll go there.
Cool. 70s rock.
Mm-hmm.
You might have.
He's like
me.
The guy's in his. He's young.
Yeah,
I know. I mean, he's. I hope he does the same to me.
Yeah, I was born in '96, but the only band that I know, the only band that I believe is a real band, is the Beatles, the greatest of all time. So, can I cop out with the Beatles?
Yeah, I mean, they
they trickled into the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, it was lightly in the 70s.
I allow it. I allow the answer.
Well, I mean, if Ferris Bueller's Day Off is his answer for the best 80s movie, I'll give him the Beatles. So. Ferris Bueller is a good movie, Ray. It's a good movie. It really is.
But Tony wanted you to pick 16 Candles.
No. Come on now. You got that's unfair. I was gonna go with Back to the Future. I mean, that's the movie.
I've never actually seen Back to the Future.
What? All right.
No. You're not
from the show.
Ray.
Yeah,
you're running for what seat? You've never seen Back to Man. You gotta.
Let me tell you something, Ray. Don't let these old fogies try to fool you.
Oh shit! Listen to
I
this.
was born in '87. I've seen Back to the Future.
What, Mikey? I was born in '85. What the hell? Old fogies. What the hell, man?
You're
How old
old
do I
to
look?
me.
Oh,
You're
okay,
old
okay.
to me, damn it. And old fogies, as in anyone who likes Back to the. It's
Yeah, well,
okay. It's you
Wait,
like it because
what?
it came
Come
out.
on.
You like it because it came out when you were a kid. It's
Well,
not really that good. There's a lot of movies. Teenage
no.
Mutant Ninja Turtles is great,
Yeah.
but the second one is trash. But I loved it.
No. Easy on the second one's trash stuff. That's Secret of the Ooze, baby. I mean, that's where all the clowning cartoon characters started. In the live action movies. I mean,
Dude,
that
that Bebop and Rocksteady was the
Come on.
most or the no. It was
They're
the snapping-
obnoxious. It's
No, it
terrible.
was a snapping
no, it's
turtle.
not.
It was a-
No,
it was a
I'm going to
snapping
stand
turtle
up for
and the
that
other
movie.
guy.
Ray, help me out here. Ray, have you
No.
seen the Secret of the Ooze movie?
No.
The
Oh, here
second
we go. Here we
Teenage
go.
Mutant
Oh,
Ninja Turtles.
damn. Oh,
All right,
damn. I'm
Ray,
on my
have
own.
you
Right.
seen? So your last question is, have you seen a movie? No.
I have. We're actually catching up. Me and my friends are catching up on movies that are like way before our time. So I just finished all the Harry Potters. We're starting Star Wars next.
Oh, there you go. See,
Hopefully
he's doing his homework. He's doing his homework.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
so that was sort of an illegal question.
You can
but-
skip Back to the Future though.
Oh,
It's
man.
just
Damn,
all
man.
right, dude.
Damn. All right. Man, it's that is the 80s movie. That's it. Like, that's the one that
Raiders
you
of the Lost Ark was the correct answer. You all lost.
Indiana Jones is way better than fucking Back to the Future. Just saying.
Plot holes and
Yeah.
everything. All right, Ray. So if Mikey, if you would, let's give Ray center stage. Give us, Ray, if you will, your elevator pitch. We want to know why you're running for Congress, and what your campaign is centered on, please, sir.
Yeah. So it's a kind of a crazy idea, like a 25-year-old kid challenging a 30-year career Republican incumbent Congresswoman Ann Wagner. So I was born and raised here in St. Louis. I grew up here in Brentwood, went to college in Central Missouri in Warrensburg. After my freshman year of college, I got a job in Governor Nixon's office working on his policy team, working on bill reviews and clemency applications, and got a little more than 70 folks pardoned for nonviolent drug-related offenses, which is really progressive for the state of Missouri, like with what we're doing right now. So I was at 19 years old after Nixon went back to college, working on campus to fight sexual assault on college campuses all across the state of Missouri. Post-college, I got a job at the state party organizing for House and Senate candidates on McCaskill's 18 campaign. Then just really stayed with the state party in 2020, helping out with races in the 2020 cycle. Sat around with friends and just thought about the issues that we cared about. And it's unions, it's making sure everyone gets health care, it's taking care of our environment, preserving our natural resources. And really there's this like fundamental belief that I have is I see the world through two separate lenses, the world as it is and the world as it should be. And we really should always be fighting for the world as it should be. So what stood between me and working on those issues to make the world as it should be is this federal office. It was the closest in the country in 2020 between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, only decided by 115 votes. It's going to look a lot like it does now after redistricting. It's the best chance Democrats have to flip a seat. Yeah. So we're going to flip this seat.
What are you doing to organize voters out there?
Yeah. So
wait, my son is roaring at you. So apparently he wants
an answer.
He's very interested in this answer. So
gotcha. So from day one, I've always been about building a broader coalition, a new coalition across divisions of race, region, religion, gender, income, and age group. In this kind of district, that's what it's going to take to beat Ann Wagner. We have to bring folks together. Because I'm 25 years old, we draw our initial strength from young people. So I've been going around hitting high schools and colleges all across this state, getting kids to sign up to either knock doors, make phone calls, send text messages. If you live in the district, you're going to be here on election day. We're getting plans to drive kids out from their colleges here in the district or make sure they vote absentee. And what we're starting to see already is that those kids are talking to their parents and their grandparents about the kind of world they want to grow up in. So we're really strengthening this campaign as the days go
by. Tony, you got a question?
Yeah, I do. So did you golf with Jay? Did you golf with him?
I did not, but we talked about a lot of basketball. The governor is
Did you?
a huge basketball fan.
Yeah, he is. No, my brother golfs, and he's golfed with Jay and his son. So I didn't know if you golfed with him or not. I know that's not political, but I mean, I might as well ask. You said you went to Warrensburg, is that right?
Yeah, Central Missouri. Yeah.
Yeah, the mules, right? What
Greatest.
Wait, what are you talking about? The golf's not political.
What do you mean?
Trump did it 390 days of his presidency.
Yeah, it's not political. It's all I mean, you can make it political if you want, but going on the golf course and rubbing elbows with each other, then I guess if you're making backroom deals and shit, yeah, sure, whatever. Are you pushing Russian compromise on Lindsey Graham? Yeah, sure. I mean, it's political, whatever you want to say. Ray, so you say the seat is flippable, right?
Absolutely.
So by 100 and some votes, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and that's when we had our last candidate this time in 2020 because of COVID. They didn't really hold any public events or really knock doors. Like we could have flipped this seat last time. We're gonna flip it this time.
So what? So I mean, do you think it was a messaging problem, or you just think it was that enough people didn't know that they could go?
Yeah, I think
get this seat flipped.
I think in Missouri, it's really about personality because really in the state of Missouri, voters vote pretty progressively. We just passed Medicaid expansion and legalized medical marijuana. It's really about who the candidate is on the ballot, and it kind of takes a young, energetic kid who represents this district in more ways than one. We kind of breathe new life into the Missouri Democratic Party and energize our base.
I think you make a good point about a lot of states are like Missouri where they have progressive voters and those people would vote progressively. It's got this mindset of these few issues, whether it be abortion or something else. They get locked into these fights over one issue or two issues or something, and then they get locked in this issue of some of these progressive voters think, it's a shoe-in for the Republican. This is a red state. You hear that shit. Which Missouri has been, notorious for flipping back and forth, one way or the other. And it really wasn't until 2008 with the John McCain Obama race when Missouri didn't actually vote for the president of the United States, which was, kind of surprising. I mean, I don't think it surprises a lot of people that are here in Missouri, but kind of surprised the country because Missouri is a weird state. It's been a weird state all the way back before the Civil War. So,
What would you say is the biggest political topic to Missouri? Is it Missourians or Missouans that where the right wing government does them the most disservice? Healthcare or something like that?
I mean, they're wrong on just about every issue, but I'd say the one that does probably the most disservice is probably healthcare. Our elected officials, they say that they'll take care of your healthcare, but their actions in Washington, and my opponent in Wagner, her actions in Washington don't match her words here in the district. She's awful on healthcare.
Can you elaborate a little bit on what awful means?
Yeah, so she'll around election time, she'll say, "Hey, I'm going to protect your pre-existing conditions," while at the same time, during a pandemic, she's in court fighting to strip people away from their health care in lawsuits against AAA Obamacare.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah.
That's Missouri Republicans, really. I mean, they talk out one side of their mouth and the other side at the same time. I mean, we have an attorney general here who's for, big government's bad. And he's the big bad government telling local school districts that they can't make sure that their kids are healthy and safe in their schools. So fuck that guy. And, I mean, it is the way of Missouri Republicans a lot of times to not give two shits about Missourians. And one more question, Ray, that I have. Is it Missouri or is it Missouri?
It's Missouri.
It's Missouri, right? Well, yeah, because you did work for Jay Nixon, so it is Missouri, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I'm contractually obligated to say Missouri.
Right. Since you were around Jay that much, you had to say Missouri, right? Yeah. Well, it happens.
It's not like saying Illinois.
Yeah.
Stop it. People
do that, man, just to irritate me.
Yeah. Illinois. It's like, stop. And it's not Missouri either. Stop it, the both of you. You both know better. If you know better, you should do better. God damn it.
You should, but they don't. So CRT, right? When it comes to this whole CRT in schools thing, Ray, do you hear that a lot down there? I'm guessing that you do, about this pandering against the evil ghost of CRT, the phantom that's coming behind us to destroy everything that we hold dear. What's your conversation with people on that?
I kind of start off with Virginia. I think one of the lessons in Virginia was that we've got to nominate candidates in the Democratic Party who actually know how to talk about race and are comfortable talking about race in our districts. So as far as CRT here, like, there are a group of Republicans here who stir it up really just to divide people. But full disclaimer, critical race theory is not taught at the K through 12 level.
Yes, it is.
What?
Yes,
What?
it is.
Fake news. Oh, shit.
There we go.
There was a teacher in San Diego who said she only had 3 years to indoctrinate her kids. So therefore, everyone. Yeah. So but what is it that you think should be focused on as far as, do you have a plan or a suggestion for, the school board members or people who are advocating for or against us at school board members, where it's like, here, this is what's appropriate to learn at this age. This is what's appropriate to learn at this age. And then progressing to where you would actually learn critical race theory by the time you're 20. Do you have some sort of plan of progression as far as, teaching kids what they're cognitively ready to learn?
Yeah, so there's this great group here in Missouri, MOEP. They pretty much have their only goal is to center our education and policy around diversity, equity, and inclusion in our K through 12 education system. So I've pretty much been partnering with them to help me develop my educational platform for K through 12. They're made up of moms in districts and former teachers and college students. But absolutely, we want to develop a K through 12 educational system centered around diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Looks like we lost your co-host there, Mikey.
Good.
now I'm playing co-host, I guess.
Yes, and now that I have finally completed my coup to take over Dig on America.
Well, that was easy. That was easy. Just kick him out of the room.
Yeah, and let me click here. Ban for life.
Okay, good. Good.
Okay. So schools is always super big for me because I've been bouncing back and forth between like Chicago suburbs and downtown St. Louis my entire life. And boy, the difference between the school systems for like middle school when I was going from not Bolingbrook, where was that? I was probably like Carroll Stream, so a little bit out west, and then moving back down to St. Louis, and it was just like these kids are a year and a half behind. Like, we have done all of this. So are there any plans? Because I haven't really been tapped in. I've been up here for about a decade now. So are there any plans, or do you know of any groups that are not looking for just like basic stuff, but kind of like a restructuring of how the school system is set up in Missouri? Because last time I was there, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, a lot of it's handled at the state level with the legislature. As far as what I want to do in Congress is, send as much money to state and local governments as I can for public education. That's like we stop sending all the money to charter schools. And actually invest in, the educational system that built this country and that raised our parents and our grandparents.
Yeah. Anything from you, Tony? Let me go ahead and switch this screen. There we go. That's better. So one thing I always ask anyone who's running for office is I have just but one goal in my meager life, and it's to tax the church. Will you help me tax the church?
Can't go one show without asking that question, can you?
I will never go a show without asking that question.
Taxing the church, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, that's one thing I've always promised. I'm always gonna be honest. I have not had a single conversation about taxing the church. I haven't had a single conversation about it. But if you want, we'll have a conversation after this about your opinions on it.
Okay. Noted. Duly noted.
Well, let me ask a brief question about that. So, do you think that it is ethical? I think I know the answer to this question, so I'll change a little bit. Do you think that it would be appropriate, not ethical, because we know that it's unethical to take in funds from donations and use them to buy your 7th jet, right? I think everybody can agree on that. But do you think that there's like a threshold where, you know, churches should be held accountable for the amount of you know, tax-free contributions that they get from their parishioners that need to go back out into the public or into the community in order for them to maintain some level of tax exemption status?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely fair and reasonable. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we talked a little bit about you touched briefly on healthcare, but I'd like to hear kind of like what would be your plan, Ray? You know, or before we get there, what do you envision as far as universal healthcare, Medicare for all, whatever name that we want to throw on that? You know, do you have a particular one of the styles of universal healthcare that you favor the most, that you think would be the most effective? And after that, what would be the best way to transition to it?
Yeah. So you can take Medicare, give it to everybody. The end. Everybody gets taken care of. But realistically, Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, laid the groundwork for universal health care in this country. So in Congress, I want to, you know, build on that and put America back on track to universal health care. For the tax cut that Ann Wagner voted for in 2017, we could have taken care of Medicare for all for the next 5 years and saved countless lives. So absolutely, I will support Medicare for all. And just get America on track. Like, people shouldn't be going to the hospital shouldn't be making a decision on going to the hospital based on whether or not they'll go broke. Like, I don't think that's fair or just in any wealthy society is this.
Do you think the messaging on it has been bad from the Democratic Party, or like what's the whole? I mean, that question answer that should obviously be yes, but you know, where's the messaging going wrong? How can you help fix it?
Yeah, I think voters aren't hearing it enough. How they're going to hear it, how they're going to see it in their day-to-day lives. There's not enough counter on the Republicans, because the Republicans have this strategy of, hey, if we kick enough gears in the sand, things don't get done. We don't know why things don't get done. They know that things aren't getting done. And they'll do everything they can to divide folks on issues so that if we're giving this person health care, we're taking away this from you.
Right.
There's got to be some pushback on Republicans and just calling them out on their shit.
So what would you say is the most common objection to it that you hear from people who are at least trying to be reasonable? Because we know the unreasonable idiots, right? Like I'm not worried about their arguments, but what would you say is that argument, and how do you engage in the conversation with that person to help them, you know, kind of see the light, so to speak?
Probably that I'll lose my health care or I'll lose my doctor. That's been a big one I've been hearing. But I wouldn't support any healthcare plan. I come from a family of union workers. So if you're a union worker and you fought hard for a good contract, I think you should be able to keep that good contract, keep your healthcare that you fought for under that good contract. And I think you should be able to opt in and opt out as you please. But there are plenty of folks here in St. Louis who go through 20, 30 years of life without coverage. Never go to a hospital, and it can be fatal in a lot of issues, a lot of situations. So
it sounds like you're kind of for a public option rather than just single payer only, right? Is that kind of how you feel?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you just explain to me why you think that would work better?
I can't say what will work better until we actually see these things put in.
That's
action.
true. Yeah, that's fair. But what would be like? So here's where I would kind of counterpunch that a little bit. Is I think that if you have competition from the private sector, they're going to all gang up on the public option and try to choke it out. And then you'll end up having people who are going to say, well, I'm paying for my own health care and I'm paying for everyone else's health care who takes the public option. So that could create some, in addition to the existing negative animosity towards that. Well, all animosity is negative. You would add some existing irritation from people and who are going to argue that they're paying for poor people's healthcare, but also paying for their own premium plan. So like to me, I would say I think that we need to eliminate all of the private companies, the private insurance companies at least, and just conglomerate all of those people who now have private insurance under one insurance company, leave the doctors public, at least the doctors private, at least for now, and for the foreseeable future. And that way everybody is paying into the same pot. Everybody has the same deductible. Everybody has the same, amount that's taken out in tax, obviously, except for, as you make more, you obviously will pay a little bit more into that. But I think that you get a little bit less. I think you get less pushback to the policy your way. I certainly agree with that. And it might be the way to go. But I think that effectively, once we have it in place, that it will work better if you didn't have that competition, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Can I jump in here, Dutch?
No.
Okay.
Get in here.
So, well, Mikey might dunk on me and ban me for life. But
I'll
Ray,
consider
yeah, let me ask you, Ray. So your opponent, how did they vote on abolishing healthcare for average working Americans? What's their record on voting to get rid of Obamacare, to get rid of the ACA, make sure Americans don't have healthcare? What was their record?
I don't know the exact number, but I know every time it's come up, she's voted to
abolish it, get rid of their healthcare. That's what you say. Democrats. We talked earlier about Democrats having a shitty message, and this is the stuff that we do. What we do is we like line item this shit before we govern, because I believe politics and government are two separate things. I know you know that, Ray. Jay Nixon is a Democrat who won in Missouri twice. A lot of people call him a dino. Democrat in name only, but the guy has a lot of liberal views, and he's still won in the state, because I think there's one thing Jay Nixon understands, and he understands that politics and government are two separate things. Jay Nixon is no dummy. He had some trouble there at the end with Ferguson, but every politician is going to have their little trials here. But here's the thing: is that we always fight about line items, right? We're always saying line item this, line item that. We got to change this. We got to change that. We got to govern like this. We got to govern like that. Well, we don't get to govern if Ray doesn't get to Washington. Like, Ray can do whatever the hell he wants. He can think whatever the hell he wants. He can tell Dutch whatever the hell he wants to tell him. But if Ray doesn't get to Washington, if Ray doesn't run a campaign where this guy can be Missouri's second, the Democrat in Missouri's second, forget about a line item. Forget about the ACA. Forget about public option. I mean, Ray doesn't have the ability to say anything about a public option. I mean, as much as he has right here on the show, until we get him on the floor of the House. As soon as we get him on the floor of the House, he can debate and go back and forth, and we can pressure him, and we can make sure that Ray does exactly what we want him to do once he's in that seat. And I think Democrats miss that sometimes. Democrats, liberals, anybody in the Democratic coalition, they miss this messaging thing. Republicans get it. These fascists have got it for decades.
They get it
decades
perfectly.
and decades and decades, because they know that politics and government are two separate things. They know it. They know it. They've always operated that way, and we fall on our messaging. So my advice to Ray is, because I'm a messaging guy, so my advice to Ray is to go out there and say, hey, do you know that the person I'm running against voted for you not to have health care? Not only that, they were campaigning against the state of Missouri to expand Medicaid. They not only does she not like you to have health care, she voted against you having health care. I'm for you having health care, and I'll go fight for you to have health care. Vote for me. I'll go do something about healthcare, whatever the hell that is. I'll go do I'll do a hell of a lot more than what she's going to do. What she's going to do is she, he, whoever the hell it is, they're going to try to take it away from you. They don't want you to have health care. So I think Democrats and the Democratic coalition miss it.
And that's the thing that the Democrats love to do, is they love to, let's tear him apart first and then put his withered bones up there and then run him against the Republican. Like, God fucking damn it, we lost again. It's like, no, you don't get him in power and then try to influence him. You just say, I'll just destroy all of the candidates. And then the corporates are just like, we got one in the chamber. Let's fire this guy off and he'll win automatically. Because, you know what I mean? It's like we're kind of at our own peril when it comes to candidates if we don't even support any of them in the first place. Like, they never get the support. They only get the criticism. And then they wonder why they lose all the time.
Right.
That raises a really good point, which is sort of tangential to this, right? How much support, if any, and communication have you had with, if any, with the local Democratic Party, your precinct captains, that sort of stuff, as far as like endorsements and sponsorships and any support at all from the DNCC?
Mm-hmm.
So from the DCCC, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I work for the state party, so I have relationships and knew all the chairs and presidents of local parties. So of course they've all invited me to come speak at their local Democratic clubs and the union clubs, and I'm not just coming one time. I'm going to make sure I keep coming back and back and back to make sure that they know I'm a serious candidate. I'm serious about winning this district. But the thing is, I'm starting to see that they're really excited about someone young. The number one thing I hate hearing in Missouri is that Missouri Democrats don't have a bench. We have no one coming up. It's not just me that's coming up. There's a plethora of young kids who are energized, who are excited to fight for something here in Missouri.
There's no Democrats that live in Missouri. Are you kidding me, Ray? Yeah, well, that's the old thing of you're a red state. There's no one blue here, you know. And again, we do this to ourselves. And when I say we, I don't mean like card carrying Democrats. I mean liberals, independents, moderates, people who don't want to vote for Republicans anymore because they I don't know, they tried to commit a coup, they tried to overturn our government, they tried to shit on the Constitution, right?
Just a little thing like that. That's
right. Right. So I mean, my message always is that, look, you don't need some fancy thing where you got to go sell the bill that you're going to get when you get to Congress. Like they never do that. Like they're like abortion, and more abortion. Like that's their message, is to scare. Oh, if you vote for Democrats, oh my God, there's going to be so many dead babies. They'll be in the gutters in the streets. You know, that's their thing, right? That they'll take away your guns, which there hasn't been one goddamn Democrat in this country that's taken away guns. You elect fascist and you see who's going to take away guns.
Reagan's the one who took away guns.
Well, you know,
for the most part. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was the backer of the 1992 gun ban.
The assault, right?
Ban, and the handgun ban. So well, rightfully so. He got shot by a handgun. But I guess the point is that if I, you know,
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot he got shot. Yeah, by somebody who wanted to impress Jodie Foster.
Yeah, that motherfucker's running free too. That's weird, but you know, it happens. We live in weird timelines these days.
What was his name? Hinckley, right?
Hinckley. Yep, they released him, I think. Yep,
he was in a mental hospital for a while. Was he white?
Oh yeah, Mikey's got it. Mikey's got it.
Need we answer?
I wish I could shoot at a president, hit the president, and then at any point in my timeline after, expect to be walking on a sidewalk.
Oh, it gets better than that, Mikey. That guy for years and years, because he was deemed not fit to serve trial, and they found him criminally insane, all that shit. And he would get released from the mental hospital, and he would spend weeks and weeks with his mother under supervision and stuff for years. Like, that guy wasn't locked away in a prison cell or something. That guy was locked away in an institution, and he would come in and out for years and years and years. So it gets much worse than what you're saying.
They would have electric chaired my dead body for.
Oh, let's be real. If the person holding the gun that shot Reagan had the skin color of you or Ray, they'd have killed him right there on the sidewalk.
There would have been no trial.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
You wouldn't have walked on a sidewalk in the prison either.
No,
because
right. Yeah,
sidewalks of heaven.
But
I mean, if you want to be honest about it.
That's a very good segue, actually, to one of the questions I wanted to ask Ray. So one of the things that I think that I would imagine that you're getting a lot from the Joe Schmo in the middle out there is what's your stance on this whole defund the police thing? Are you going to destroy our police departments? Are we going to have chaos in the streets? You know, how do you address that question and, you know, sort of calm them down from their belief that we're going to have no more law enforcement in this country?
Yeah. So I guess I'll preface with saying, I already said I'm right next to Cori Bush. Corey's got the city. I've got the suburbs here. And part of the way they won last time in 2020 was Ann Wagner ran ad after ad after ad by saying Democrats are going to bring Antifa into your suburbs. And
you mean that? Do you mean she used fear? She used fear?
No, astonishing.
Not in Missouri.
Yeah. So we expect her to, you know, have even worse dog whistle politics with me. Same racist tropes that she's used before. But yeah, it's pretty much, we care. I understand that the relationship between the police and the suburbs, folks in the suburbs have with their police. I don't want to, you know, completely disband police departments. We obviously need our police to keep us safe. But a police officer doesn't always need to be coming out on a call. It sometimes needs to be a resource officer or someone who can help with whatever the situation is. We should definitely rethink how we spend money on our police departments. There's no reason for tanks to be rolling down the streets in the suburbs of St. Louis, Missouri. That's absurd.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that Democrats miss a lot on this is when we have this conversation with our friends on the right, is that when you call the police, you're literally calling a gun to the situation. So sometimes you have to kind of think, okay, would a gun make this situation better? And I think generally the answer to that question has to be no. You know, but people don't always think about it that way. They think about it as I'm calling, as like in the Karen mentality, I'm calling the person that's going to, you know, give me the upper hand over you. And that's where the problems arise. But you're exactly right. You know, cops don't need to be called to get cats out of trees. Neither is the fire department for that fucking matter. So, you know, they don't need to be called to break up domestic disputes unless there's a reason for that particular domestic dispute, you know, to be broken up by a gun. That absolutely might happen. But just generally speaking, if Doug and Amy are fighting in the kitchen, that doesn't always necessarily mean that you know, you need to call a gun into that situation.
Are you talking about fist fighting or arguing?
I'm using the word fighting as a proxy for arguing. So
that's,
you know,
what I was clarifying.
Yeah, people people call, like, neighbors call the police, especially in apartment environments. They call the police a lot for yelling. And, you know, sometimes I get it. Like, they're annoyed by the yelling and, you know, maybe they're worried. And sometimes people do it in good faith, but other times they don't, you know, and it's like, so if you were going to call someone and you end up calling out someone who's qualified to de-escalate that situation, then that is a good thing. But unfortunately, we have seen over and over that police are not particularly good at de-escalating situations. Just their presence and the presence of their badge and their gun sometimes can have the opposite effect, and that sometimes is no fault of their own. Just by their presence, it escalates the situation, you know, because people know what can happen. So your thoughts on that?
So let me ask you, Ray, would you give more funding to police in tactical gear or training?
Training. Like, you can never have training with firearms, period, but absolutely training.
So you're saying, what you're saying is you don't want to defund the police. You want to make sure to fund them for training, because I haven't heard one Democrat that either is in office or running for a major office that has said that they absolutely want to abolish the police. There's a lot of people saying it out there, but I don't think there's been someone that has policy that has to do with actually making policy and legislating policy that has said we want to defund and completely abolish. I think that the other problem that we have with the Democratic Party or the Democratic Coalition is they get these catchphrases like defund the police, and not the right turns it around and they don't get ahead of the messaging, right?
Medicare for all, defund the police.
Exactly. Well, universal pre-K is another one. I've been yelling this into a microphone for months that they should stop saying the words universal at all. Like, stop saying it. It's a bad word to white people hate the word universal. Stop saying it. You know what you say?
Universal Studios.
Right, exactly. That's it. That's it. What you say is kids are gonna start school at 3 instead of 5. Kids are gonna start school at 3 instead of 5. Tell them what the hell it is. Tell them what the hell it is. And so that defund the police thing, I think it's not a thing where, you know, the right's thinking or anyone's really thinking that Democrats are gonna abolish the police department.
Right.
But it really is about changing the focus of the budgets, and where that money is allocated to training as opposed to tactical gear. I mean, I would much rather the officers that show up on a scene where there's a dangerous situation have fucking training to de-escalate that situation than to roll in with a fucking $500,000 tank, right? I'd rather have him and the two gals that show up in uniform to have a $500,000 worth of education. Hell of a lot better than having them have a $500,000 tank. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and on the defund the police, I just gotta throw this in there. The person who wanted to defund the police, the person who's voted to defund the police is Ann Wagner. In 2020, the Heroes Act, she voted against it, and she voted against the American President Biden's stimulus package, which sent money to local and state governments, which funds our police.
That's what you do. That's what you do.
That's what you do.
You say she wants to defund the police. Here's the record. Here's the record right here, baby. So that's the messaging, right? So that's what Democrats have to do, like Ray or anyone else out there running in these districts. Hey, you're an incumbent or not. Like you got to go after them. I mean, if you're gonna get in a boxing ring to play politics, put the fucking gloves on and get in the ring and start boxing, right? Why do we tie our one hand behind our back? Why, Ray, why would you not want to call out her or whoever it is that is your opponent on their record of defunding the police when they're like, oh, he wants to defund the police? Like, no, I mean, I don't, but you actually did. You voted for it. Like, I would have signs everywhere that says this person wants to defund the police, like everywhere, bumper stickers everywhere. You don't want to know who wants to defund the police in the suburbs? Here they are. Here's their voting record. Here's what they go after them. Straight go after them. We got it. We got to stop. We, as a Democratic coalition, we have to stop being so scared, so terrified of saying the wrong thing. Fuck that shit. Just go after them. We're not going to be able to change what I was talking about, the $500,000 budget for the tank or the education. We're not going to change it if Ray doesn't go to Washington. She ain't going to do it, is she? No, hell no, she ain't. But Ray might. Ray, we got a hell of a lot better chance with Ray on the floor of the House than we do with her. That's all I'm saying.
That's absolutely true.
Mikey, you're eerily quiet. Change that. What do you got?
I asked my questions when you were gone.
Yeah, you skipped out on them.
I was gone for like...
They were really intuitive, too.
For like a minute.
No, it was like at least 3, wasn't it, Mikey? Didn't you have a timer?
You were gone for a little bit.
Mikey revels. He revels in every time I have stepped away from the show over the year that we've been doing this show. And by the way, we've just passed our 1-year anniversary, so happy birthday to us. Where's my gift?
It's the anniversary.
It was actually like about 10 days ago or something, but you know, we didn't celebrate it. You know, we just gave each other, you know,
don't you say nothing nasty
across the room.
I'm about to say, I know your little nasty mind.
The bedroom eyes.
We do have some questions from the chat. Tim from Speaking for the Dinner, good question. Student debt crisis.
This is my favorite topic, for obvious reasons. I still have student loans. My friends have student loans. Folks all over my district have federal student loans. And again, for the cost of that tax cut in 2017 that my opponent Ann Wagner voted for, we could have forgiven every single federal student loan in the country. But she decided that a tax cut for the wealthiest billionaires on Wall Street was more important than a family being able to start a business, buy a house, have a baby, buy a car, move on with their lives. And making an investment and taking a $50,000 burden off someone's back is going to give you a greater return on investment than the tax cut in 2017 had. I just can't get over forgiving student loans, and I absolutely want to do it. In 2023, when reconciliation comes up, I'll be on the floor of the House fighting for it until we pass it.
And I think the other thing that people forget about with that is that when you have a lot of people who will come up and say, well, I paid for, like my dad will say that I paid for all my college. Your college costs $2,500.
Right. Like, calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down. I paid for my degree. You paid 38 cents and a now later, and it was purple. Like, you didn't pay a lot.
You weren't going to eat that purple now and later anyway.
Right. Did you say and in the middle? It's now and later. Come on now, Dutch. Now and later. Later.
Are you really tone policing me or grammar policing me on the word and? Okay.
I'm grammar policing your now and
that is
later.
Racist, sir.
Laughing taffies? Is that what you call them? Laughing taffies?
Yes, actually. Laughing taffies. Big league chews.
Large league chews.
Large league chews, yes. Okay, so I'll tell you what. Let's do one more policy question for Ray. Let's see what we've touched. What haven't we touched on here? Oh, there we go. Campaign finance reform, one of our favorites. Go.
In one sense, we're gonna overturn Citizens United. It was the worst court case since Dred Scott. It was absolutely terrible. It's corruption in Washington. And can I just piggyback off that on the other side? We absolutely have to ban every single member of Congress and their senior staff. Like, that's a bigger part of this. We have to ban their senior staff also from being able to trade stocks. Members of Congress obviously are privy to information, and if they're trading stocks, it's essentially day trading. And a lot of times their senior staff members know just as much, if not more, than the member actually does. So I just want to throw that out there.
Ann is your opponent, right? Isn't that her name?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's Ann Wagner's record on campaign finance reform?
It's awful. She's made millions of dollars.
Yeah.
She's made a lot more money than I have.
So let me ask you, how does that affect Missouri's second? What would you tell if I was someone in Missouri's second? I said, Ray, Ann does this, Ann does that. What makes you different on campaign finance reform than her? What are you going to tell me?
I'm pretty much clear on. I think we need to get dark money out of politics. When people donate to I'm not accepting, first of all, a dime of corporate PAC money. I'm not accepting any money from Wall Street. I'm not accepting any money from the big agricultural corporations. I'm not accepting any money from the oil industry. And I think that's kind of just the ethical thing to do at this point. But Congresswoman Ann Wagner, she gets all her money from Wall Street. She's never here in the district. She's not here right now in the district, and I'm here right now.
Wait, you mean she's a corporate sludge fund? Is that what you're saying? You're saying what she does is she takes money from all them big, huge, scary businesses that really go into these suburbs of St. Louis and really, hurt the working class people. She does that. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me?
From all those evil corporations that are enforcing mask mandates on you right now.
Right. Well, you see what I'm getting at. See the messaging that happens is you can take, instead of saying, well, I don't want to take oil money and this and that, you can just turn it around on them. That's what they do. That's what she's going to do. She's going to say, oh, Ray Reid, he's a socialist. He's a socialist, and he does this and he does that, and he takes all that socialist money, and he's gonna press all that socialism on you. That's what
hold on. We know that Ray. You got your check from George Soros already, right?
I wish I had all this.
Ours is coming any day.
I got mine in the mailbox today. What are you guys doing? You guys are doing it wrong.
We trust that it's coming. And Ray, you have to have gotten yours.
I'm still waiting on my Oprah money too. Like that.
But you get what I'm saying about the messaging with the campaign finance reform, right? It's the same thing as defund the police. Democrats are always the first ones to get out and say how they're going to be great and this is going to be fantastic and it's all going to be fuzzy and warm. And Republicans are like socialist, socialist, socialist. And they're like, oh my God, it's Reid. He's so scary. He's a socialist. Well, if you get out there and you paint them the way that you want to paint them, and I don't just mean Ray, I mean any Democrat for that matter. But if Ray gets out there and paints Ann the way that she needs to be painted with the record that she has, because you're not lying, you're telling a record. You're saying, hey, this person is taking corporate dollars from big business that you don't like, that you say is scary. Why would you vote for her? I'm not doing that. Why would you vote for her? Right. So, I mean, you need how many? 200 votes? 200 votes? 200 votes?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Much, yeah.
Exactly.
And
I bet I could flip 300 people in 10 minutes with a message like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There was one last thing that I forgot that I did want to ask you about. So it looks like they're trying to gerrymander Missouri a little bit to try to make it so that you're going to have, I think you guys have 8 districts, if I remember correctly, and they're going to try to get it so that it's 7 Republican districts. And you sent out a tweet on that. Tell us the statistics of your tweet again, if you recall what that was from a couple of days ago, as far as the percentage of Democrats in Missouri compared to the amount of representation that Democrats would have, because that was pretty astonishing.
I don't remember the exact number. I remember it was more than 50 though. Republicans.
I remember exactly what it was. So it was yes, because I talked about that 5 minutes before I saw your tweet on a space. And when I saw your tweet, I put it in the space. And I don't expect you to remember exactly the numbers, but the numbers were something like 47 or something percent of voters in Missouri overall voted for the Republican Party or for the Democratic Party. But the Republican Party wants 88% of the total members of Congress and ultimately what will end up being the electoral votes within that state. So that's the way that you phrased that was perfect, because it goes to show that they don't give a shit about you. Everything that the Republicans are doing, all the way from the and the Electoral College is not the Republicans' fault. I'm not saying it's their fault because it predates their party. However, they use it far better than we do. Democrats absolutely gerrymander. They just don't gerrymander as good as Republicans do. They just don't gerrymander as consistently as Republicans do. They don't. I mean, you have Republicans who literally are advocating their candidates right now, people just like you who are quote unquote grassroots Republicans, who, by the way, it's weird. A lot of them are anti-PAC now too, but they actually want to change the Constitution of the United States to have it be so that every county counts for the electoral votes of that county. That would sway the election to about a 70% Republican win, no matter what, because you have a county with one person, it's worth the same as a county with 1 million people. That makes no sense whatsoever. But that's literally what they're trying to get pushed through. Now, will it pass? Highly unlikely, but you see where the end game is at there, right? And it's whatever they can do to cheat and keep conservative politics at the forefront, where what you're literally trying to do, and I think this is a big part of your messaging too, brother, is you're literally fighting for votes for people who aren't going to vote for you. Right? Like, that's how much typically we care on our side of the aisle, is we fight just as hard for the vote of the guy that's going to vote against us as we do for the people who are going to vote for us, because that is democracy. Not this crap that we see out there. And the last little ranting that I have is, isn't it amazing that, and I believe I saw some things that Ann Wagner was tweeting about mandates, but isn't it amazing that the Republican talking points have shifted from 2 years ago, when all we heard about was, we don't want to have universal health care because I'm going to lose my doctor. And now doctors are part of an evil cabal that are pushing vaccines on us and trying to control the masses, and we don't trust doctors and pharmacists anymore. Isn't it amazing how that transitioned so quickly? So you know what? They don't get to use that excuse about, I don't want to lose my doctor anymore, unless they are actively going out and combating those tweets and those Facebook posts that are on social media, which I guarantee they're not doing because they don't want to get defriended by their buddies. So there's my rant.
So Ray, how do you use that? How do you use that Ann Wagner's QAnoner? How do you use it?
So I'm actually like kind of exploiting that because she does this dance because the shape of this district. She does this dance between the Tea Party side, the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and Lauren Boeberts of the Republican Party, and the Liz Cheneys of the Republican Party. So in the suburbs, she'll kind of align herself with whatever Liz Cheney's saying, and in the more rural areas of the district, she'll align herself with whatever crazy shit Marjorie Taylor Greene is cooking up.
So she's trying to Glenn Youngkin that damn thing. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's Republicans in a nutshell.
All right. So I know. So we're at the end of the hour. Let's hear about Ray's campaign, Mikey, if you will.
Dum-ba-da-dum.
Tell us. That Ray, not the other Ray. Where can people find you? Where can people support you? You do not have a tiny little district, like some folks who are doing grassroots do. You have a district that you need gas money to get through. So absolutely. How can we support that? Where can we find you on socials?
I am at Reid, REEDMO, on everything: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And you can find links to donate to our campaign in the bios of all of them. We're taking grassroots money, so feel free, chip in $10 or really whatever you can to help us win this thing.
Perfect. We'll get some Twitter spaces going with you and a couple of the other guys in that group that we're in pretty soon. Try to get you some more exposure. So, all right. Well, Mikey, would you like to ask for some money as well before we play the music again?
Sure. Hi guys, it's me, your old buddy Mikey Famine. Look, bitch, I know you got that fucking W-2 3 weeks ago now, and I know you got your fucking tax return. Quit fucking playing with my goddamn money. I know you got paid. You already went to H&R Block. You already got that shit. You already lost $300 because you needed it that day. You got a little bit left. We're going to need that. So if you can, by all means, go to www.patreon.com/digonamerica and let us get a little piece of the pie so we can be like George and Wheezy. Dutch is very expensive. We have to continually replace microphones and monitors and headphones because he gets in a rage.
And co-hosts.
And he likes to stream Minecraft when he's not doing this kind of stuff, and Roblox, and he gets very angry when the creepers get him and he breaks shit. It's getting expensive. And you know what? You guys are going to pay for it now because me and Haas are done. We're done buying monitors for Dutch because he's putting his tiny little Trump hand fists right through the screen. So again, guys, if you could just help us replace some of this broken equipment because of Dutch's rage because he streams little kid games, patreon.com/digonamerica.
And by little kid games, he means RedTube.
In your hands going through the screen? Calm down, jerky boy.
All right. So, folks, there it is. That is the show for the first hour. We will see you for the second half of the show in 30 seconds.
Ha-ha!